No, 7.2. 7.2. You guys have a quiz on Thursday. Now, on your quiz Thursday, you're going to have simplifying and proving, right? Like we did the first, God bless you, the first few days. I gave you lots of practice for that yesterday. You guys can be working on that. I will post the answers to that, and tomorrow I'll go over some of them with you to just kind of give you some practice. You'll have 2 questions from this section as well, and you will not have a calculator, but you guys don't need one. These are the formulas for the addition and subtraction formulas. You will have these formulas on a sheet next to you, I promise. All right. When we are on a unit circle, we've gone over this before, so this is going to come back to us. We have sine, we have cosine, and we have tangent of angles, right? And then we have their reciprocals. But here we're just going to talk about sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine was y over r. Cosine was x over r. Tangent was y over x, remember? If you have an angle that is on the unit circle, like if I say, what is the cosine of 45 degrees? It's just the x value because your r value is always 1. Anything that's on the unit circle, your r value is 1. So all you need to remember this is sine is y, cosine is x, tangent is y over x. And we're talking about ordered pairs. So like if I had an ordered pair, x comma y, if they ask you for the sine value, you would tell me whatever the y is. If they ask you for the cosine, you tell me whatever, cosine x, and then tangent, you put y over x. Okay? You guys, we should remember that. Now, these formulas we have to use when the angle that they're asking us for is not on the unit circle. And I'll talk to you about that in a second. But notice, if they ask for the sine of an angle, what you're going to do is you're going to find 2 angles on the unit circle that either add or subtract to the one that they gave you. So if you're adding, then you're going to add the 2 things together. If you're going to subtract, you're going to subtract the 2 things together. In the formula, where it says sine, that means just the y part of the ordered pair. Where it says cosine, that just means the x part of the ordered pair. That's it. You're not evaluating anything. You're not figuring it out. You're just looking at the ordered pair and plugging it into the formula. So if they ask you for sine, here's the formula for sine. And again, you'll be given those. If they ask you for cosine, here's the formula for cosine. With cosine, you have to understand and see this. Look at, when I'm adding 2 angles together or subtracting, notice what the sign's in the middle of the formula. When you're adding 2 angles to find the cosine, you have to subtract inside the formula. When you're subtracting 2 angles in cosine, you have to add inside the formula. Thing that's not that big of a deal is that we're giving you the formulas, okay? I know right now you guys are looking at this like, wait, what? It's not that hard, I promise. Let's move on and look at this, okay? First of all, change your number 1 to 11 pi over 12. The example that I gave did not work out correctly. So you will get the unit circle on your quiz. If I said to you guys right now, what is the cosine of 60 degrees? Okay, which value in the ordered pair is cosine, x or y? X. So you would go to 60, and what is the x value in the ordered pair? 1/2, right? That's it. If I said to you, what is the sine of 180 degrees? What value is sine? The y. So you go to 180. What is the sine? 0. Good. If I asked you guys, what is the tangent of 225? There's 225. What's tangent? What over what? Y over x. What's the negative square root of 2 divided by 2 over negative square root of 2 divided by 2? Positive 1. Good. That's all we're going to be doing here, guys. You're just going to be locating angles on the unit circle, plugging in the sine or the cosine value. It is not terribly difficult, I promise. So here is the thing. You guys are going to get an angle, and it's not going to be on the unit circle. So how do I figure out where in the world 11 pi over 12 even is? I have to convert it to degrees. So how would we do that? Pi at the bottom, yep. And 180 where? At the top, okay? We're not going to have a calculator, so you guys got to be able to do this. What number goes into both 180 and 12? Start with something small. 3, okay. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 goes into 180 how many times? 3 goes into 18, 6, so 60? Yeah? Okay. Can I simplify more? Okay. By 4. 4 goes into 4 how many times? Once. And 4 goes into 60 how many times? 15. So you're left with 11 times 15. Well, what's 15 times 10? 150 plus 15 more gives me 160. So what they're asking you for is the sine of 165 degrees. All right? Sine of 165. That's what they're asking you. First thing I would do here is say sine is what value? What value is sine? X or Y? Y. Okay? Sine is our Y value. That's what we're thinking. If I go over here to my unit circle, is 165 on the unit circle? No. So what we're going to do is we're going to use those formulas that you guys have from the previous slide. All right? We're going to use which formula? I'm looking for sine. So which formulas am I going to even look at here? The one that says what? Sine. Now, you can use either formula you want. This is where you guys get to decide. You have to pick 2 angles on the unit circle that either add up to 165 or subtract to give you 165. All right? There's different answers here, but you'll get the same answer. But there's different combinations. So if I come over here to my unit circle, what plus what or what minus what would give me 165? Give me some options. I need 165. So 135 and 30? Okay, 135 and 30. What else?
125 and 40.
But 125 is not. It's got to be on the unit circle.
120 and 45.
120 and 45, right? Do you guys see what I'm doing? Do you see how you're just finding 2 angles that either add or subtract to give you the number that you're looking for? So Josh, what was the first thing you said? 135 and 30. Okay, we're going to just use that one. I'm going to say instead of the sine of 165, I'm going to break it down into, it's going to be the sine of, we said 135 plus 30. Do you guys agree that 135 plus 30 equals 165? Yes? All right, so then this is how we do this. We have everything we need. That was the hardest thing you had to do right there, is just find 2 angles that add or subtract. Because I can go to my unit circle and I can write down, okay, at 135 degrees, tell me what the ordered pair is. What's the ordered pair at 135? Negative root 2 over 2 and positive root 2 over 2, right? Negative square root of 2 over 2 and positive square root of 2 over 2. This is my x value. This is my y value. The other angle I'm using is 30 degrees. So what is the x and what is the y at 30 degrees? Root 3 over 2 and 1/2. So square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. Does anybody have any questions about what I'm doing so far? We found 2 angles that either add or subtract to what we're figuring out. So now, again, remind me. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again. What formula should I use? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Sine. And of the 2 sines, which should I use? The one where we added the 2 angles together to get 165 or subtracted? Where we added. So look. I'm going to use this top formula. Sine of one of the angles, you can name them, one of them S, one of them T, one of them A, one of them B, doesn't matter. But it's the sine times the cosine plus the cosine times the sine. So I'm going to say that this angle is my T and this is my S. So my formula for the sine of 165 is going to be sine of angle T, right? Or sine of S times the cosine of T plus what? What's the formula say? Cosine S, sine of T. If you want to make those X and Y, you're welcome to make them X and Y. It does not matter what letters you choose. I just copied down the formula. I just rewrote that formula. You can use for S and T, you can use A and B, you can use X and Y. It doesn't matter. You're just naming one angle one and the other angle the other. That's it. So guys, watch. This is literally what you're doing. Remind me again, sine is what value? Sine is the Y value. And what's cosine? X. So you look at your angles, right? I called 30S and I called 125T. So sine of 30. If you want to, you can write it in with numbers next. Sine of 30 times the cosine of 135 plus the cosine of 30 times the sine of 135. That makes it easier for you. Go ahead and do that. What is the Y value in the ordered pair 30 degrees? What's the Y value? 1/2. What is the cosine value? What's the X value of 135? Negative square root of 2 over 2. Plus, what is the cosine? What's the X value for 30? Square root of 3 over 2. And then what is the Y value or the sine of 135? Square root of 2 over 2. All you're doing is naming the angles. One of them is S, one of them is T. One of them is X, one of them is Y. However you want to name them, just give them two different names. You plug in the sine, which is the Y value, in that part of the formula, for that particular angle. You plug in the cosine, which is the X value, for that particular angle. Now, guys, this is just basic. We're multiplying fractions. So you multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. What is 1 times negative square root of 2? Negative square root of 2. What is 2 times 2? 4. Plus, what's the square root of 3 times the square root of 2? The square root of 6 over what's 2 times 2? 4. Can I simplify square root of 2 over 4 or square root of 6 over 4? You can't simplify if something is inside of a house and something else is on the outside, right? If the 2 was on the outside, then you could, but we can't here. The square root of 2 is a little decimal number, but it does not reduce with the 4 on the outside. So the only thing you can do here is I can rewrite this over one denominator. This is negative square root of 2 plus the square root of 6 over 4. Your answer will always look something like that, unless it's an angle where it's like, you know, it's a quadrant angle where it's like 1 over 0 or something like that. But it'll be just like that. We'll do more of these tomorrow. We will do more of these tomorrow, I promise. But I'm going to give you the unit circle. I'm going to give you the formulas. I'm giving you everything you guys could need. Questions? What's up?
Are they always going to have the same denominator?
Yes. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at the next one. Cosine of pi over 12. I'll do it over here. We have cosine of pi over 12. First of all, let's hope and pray that this is on the unit circle. Anybody see pi over 12 in the unit circle? No. All we would have to put is just the X value of whatever's there, but it's not. So how do I figure out where this is or what number pi over 12 is? Okay, we're going to go 180 over pi. So again, my pi's will cancel out. What number goes into both 12 and 180? Okay. 12 goes into 12 once. 12 goes into 180 what? Does 12 go into 180? How about 6? 6, I know 6 goes in here. 6 goes into 12 twice. 6 goes into 180 how many times? 6 into 18, so I have 30. All right, so can I reduce more? Yep. So I'm really looking, guys, for the cosine of 15 degrees. So what do I do now? I find something on the unit circle that adds or subtracts to what? To 15. Is there just one specific combination I can use? No, there's a bunch. What do you guys want to do? What's the easiest? 45 and 30, right? So I have to rewrite this and I say, okay, I'm going to use cosine of 45 minus 30. In this case, does it matter which one goes first? Yes. Why does it matter? Because we're subtracting, right? When you're adding, it doesn't matter. Now, guys, you can name each angle whatever you want. You can call 45S and 30T. You can call 45A and 30B. You don't even have to use letters if you don't want to. What you have to do now is find the ordered pairs that go with both of those. What is the ordered pair? Look on your unit circle. What is the ordered pair for 45 degrees? Square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2, right? What is the ordered pair for 30 degrees? Square root 3 over 2 and 1/2. Tell yourself, this is my x value, this is my y, because x is cosine, y is sine, right? Now you got to figure out which formula you're going to use. Which trig function are we using? Cosine, okay. And what are we doing to the two angles to get 15? We're subtracting. So go to your formulas, and I need the cosine one that subtracts. You guys see that? Do you see the formula? What are you doing? You're going to take the two cosines and then add them to the two sines. Does everybody see that? So I'm going to say, I'm going to rewrite it over here. I'm going to use the numbers. So I'm going to say cosine 45 times cosine of 30. I'm just following whatever the formula says. Plus sine 45 sine of 30. Questions? If you need to, remind yourself, again, guys, cosine is the x value, y is the sine value. So now you just plug in. What is the cosine of 45? What is the x value of 45 degrees? Square root of 2 over 2. Times. What is the x value of 30 degrees? Square root of 3 over 2. Plus, what is the sine of 45? What's the y of 45? Square root of 2 over 2. And then what is the y value, or the sine of 30? 1/2. And now we're going to simplify. My first multiplying is the square root of 3 times the square root of 2, which gives us the square root of 6 over 2 times 2 is 4. Plus, what's the square root of 2 times 1? Square root of 2. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And can I rewrite this so it's over one denominator? The square root of 6 plus the square root of 2 over 4. Can I add the square root of 6 and square root of 2 and get square root of 8? No. Those are two completely different numbers. This is it. Your answer, guys, is going to always look something like this. Unless I asked you, like, what's the sine of 180? Then you'd have to say, oh, that's one of those quadrant angles that has a 1 or a 0 in it. And we'll practice these a few more tomorrow, but I just want to get this to you guys right now. Questions? All right, last thing I want to talk about. And again, this is going to look like, what? I promise you this is even easier than the last ones we did. The directions say write as one single trig function, then find the exact answer. What you're doing here, guys, is you're working backwards. Perfect. Good job. Who said that? Good for you. Good job. What you're going to do is you're going to compare. Okay, look. Which formula are they using here? The one that goes sine cosine minus sine cosine. Look at your formulas. Which one says sine cosine minus sine cosine? The second one, sine of s minus t, right? So you can rewrite this as the sine of what's s minus t? Well, what's 124 minus 34? 90. It's the sine of 90 degrees, okay? Sine of 90. Now, you're writing your answer as one single trig function, which is right here. This is part of our answer. And then now it says to find the exact value. So this is where we go, okay, sine. Wait, guys, remind me again. Sine is what value? Sine is the y. So go over here to the unit circle, find 90 degrees, and what is the y value? So this is what your answer looks like. When you do these, where you're going to work backwards, your answer you'll have an ordered pair on the unit circle so you can find it. You're not going to then have to evaluate. So the first thing we do in a case like this is you identify, well, what formula are they even talking about? Then once you figure out what formula it is, you rewrite that as one single trig function. Look at number 4. Number 4 says cosine cosine plus sine sine. So look here. What says cosine, cosine plus sine, sine? The second cosine. What are you doing in this case to both of those angles? In the formula, it says to add, but what are you actually doing to find that you're subtracting? So you're going to rewrite this. This is the same. This is cosine of 205 minus 125. Guys, what is 205 minus 125? Okay, we're gonna rewind for a second. That's my bad. I was doing that this morning. Reverse. Change this. Okay, look, it's fixed. Okay, here we go. Guys, what are we doing here in this formula? Subtracting, right? So look for the cosine formula that has a minus sign in the middle of it. Which one is it? The first one, right? The cosine is backwards. And so was my brain this morning. My apologies. So we identify that that's the formula that we're using. So we're really saying, if I'm going to rewrite this as one trig function, it's the cosine of 205 plus 125. What is 205 plus 125? 330. Okay, so now I have cosine of 330. That is writing your answer or your trig function as one singular trig function. That's part of your answer right there. So now we say to ourselves, okay, cosine. Wait, cosine's which value again? X. So go to your unit circle to 330 and tell me what the X value is.
3.
Square root of 3 over 2. It's the square root of 3 over 2. So this would be your complete answer. For these problems, guys, every time you add the two angles together or subtract, whichever formula you figure it out to be, the angle that is left over, like 330, 90, it will be on the unit circle. Is very straightforward, like just the problems that I just showed you on the first part, just like that. You'll have one like this that's just like this. Like, look at this one. Which formula is this? First of all, which trig function are we talking about? Tangent. How do you guys know right away, oh, I should look at the tangent formulas? Because it says tan, right? So check your tangent formulas. Which tangent has a plus on the numerator and a minus in the denominator? The first one. What are you doing to the two angles? Adding. So you would rewrite this as tangent 35 plus 175. What's 35 plus 175? 210. So writing this as one singular trig function is the tangent of 210. All right, that's part of your answer. Now, tangent's a tad bit more involved, but nothing you guys can't handle. What is tangent? Y over X. Good. It's your Y over your X value. So in this case, you might have to do a little bit of math. What is the ordered pair at 210? Negative square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2, right? Just so I don't make any silly mistakes, I'm going to put in an X and a Y over those two. So this is saying I have negative 1/2, right? Y divided by X, which is negative 3 square root of 3 over 2. Guys, you have a fraction divided by a fraction. Big deal, right? What do? You keep, you change, and you flip. What happens to my 2's? They cancel. What happens to my negative on the top and the negative on the bottom? It cancels. So I'm left with 1 over the square root of 3. Is that okay? No, what do? Perfecto. So my tangent of 210 happens to be the square root of 3 over 3. All right, what would happen if I asked you guys to tell me the tangent of 90? Tangent of 90. All right, well, let's think about this for a second. What is the ordered pair at 90? 0, 1, right? This is my x value, this is my y. Tangent is y over x. So 1 over 0. What's my tangent at 90? Not 0, it's undefined. Remember, if 0 is on the bottom, undefined. If 0 is on the top, your answer is 0. Questions? All right, tonight I would really like it if you guys could rewatch this. Kind of follow through the examples again maybe. Tomorrow in class, I'm going to go over some simplifying some more. I'm going to go over some proving some more. And then I'll just give you a couple of these and we'll just practice going backwards and working through this, okay? And then your quiz is going to be on Thursday. Deal? All right, I will upload this.